everyone, my name is Noah. I want to tell you my story about how I had an unusual blood transfusion. First of all, I have to admit that this was a secret procedure. I had to sign a bunch of non-disclosure papers. You probably want to know what it was and how it happened. I'll tell you about it. In the meantime, like the video, write comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My family and I moved to another country not so long ago in search of a better life. It was winter, so my sister and I weren't in the mood anyway. We just hated the cold. However, in the new city, Mum suggested that we should take a walk with Bella. We got dressed and went to the ice rink. According to Bella, there were so many people, and she saw a cool forest nearby on the internet where you can take photos and shoot TikTok. I agreed, there was nothing to do anyway. We went there, and Bella asked me to take a picture of her. I'd left my glasses at home that day, and I couldn't see much. The shots were blurred, and my sister was indignant. Worst photographer. I just forgot my glasses. How could you forget them? You're almost blind without them. I can't see very well up close, but far away is fine. Maybe I should stand further away then. Let's try it. The pictures were still not very good. Then Bella said that she would rather take pictures of me. I know you can't see, but I can see you. And sometimes change your position. Otherwise you look like a statue, she told me. I started falling around, parodying her. We were laughing, and then I noticed a guy in the distance. He was walking on the ice and looking at me. And then at some point, bam, he fell through the ice. Oh no, a guy is drowning. Where? What? Let's go there. We ran in his direction, and I cautiously approached the place where he had fallen. The guy was drowning, shouting, "Help!" I told Bella to call the emergency services, and I crawled very slowly over there. I held my hand out to him, but his hand was slipping. The water was icy as hell. At some point, he managed to catch on the sleeve, and I pulled him out. We lay down on the ice, side by side, but I couldn't catch my breath. Phew! Thank you, man! You saved my life! Yeah. And then there was another crunch, and I heard the crackle of ice under me. Oh no, I said, and immediately fell through the ice. I remember my sister's screams, and the guy tried to catch me, but I was so frozen I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe and passed out. In my mind, I had already said goodbye to Bella and my parents. But then I felt a warm hand touching my face. Noah, Noah, honey, a familiar voice said. I opened my eyes and found myself in a hospital. My mum and dad were crying, and the doctor said I was going to be taken by a private ambulance to the Rich Street Hospital. We don't have that much money, I said. Then the guy that I pulled out of the water came up to me, and he said his parents would do everything. I lost consciousness again, and when I woke up, I was already in another room. The place was an expensive boarding house, more than a hospital. Where am I? We're in hospital, private. Don't worry, it's okay. You were badly injured by a shard of ice. It cut your aorta. You lost a lot of blood. You need a transfusion. And you were given blood by these people whose son you saved. Are you feeling better now? It's like I didn't get sick. Then I felt my eyes. It was strange, but my vision was so crisp and clean, as if I was wearing lenses. But I didn't have them, as well as glasses. Mum, you have wrinkles. She smiled and said it was just age. Then the doctors called her. I stayed in the room, and Bella came in with the guy. Noah, hi. His name is Rick. Do you remember him? I don't think I'll ever forget him. He was here with his parents for a long time. They fed us and paid all the procedures. Why? You saved my life. I couldn't stay in debt. That's the least we could do for you. Bella, can you get us some water? Bella left the room, and Rick and I were left alone. He suddenly asked me if I felt any strange improvements in my body, to which I replied that my vision had improved and nothing hurts. He said it was okay because they had given me some different blood. What does that mean? I come from a very rich family, as you understand. We are not treated in regular hospitals and order drugs to order. I have the same blood in my veins as you, so I didn't get sick after the ice water. You would have died if it wasn't for that golden blood. Gold? That's what we call it. It protects almost all members of our family from diseases, but not from accidents. Then Bella came back into our room, and Rick stopped talking and said he would come to visit me at home later. I was released from the hospital a day later, And as soon as I got home, I looked in the mirror and noticed that my vision wasn't just good, it was 100%. I could see the small pores on my cheeks in the mirror, and I didn't even strain. Then, my mother came into the room and asked Bella if she had seen her red purse. I haven't seen it in a long time, my sister replied. And then I blurted out, it's in the garage on the top shelf. You went to your grandmother's and left it there. And then I fell silent. My mother asked in surprise how I knew, because the trip was more than 2 months ago. I just remembered it. Supervision? Memory? I thought to myself. Is this the golden blood? Suddenly there was a knock on the door, and Rick had come to see me. He invited me for a walk and told me that in fact, the golden blood has unique properties. You can't find it in hospitals, as I said. We order it. We have a whole community of rich neighbors, relatives. It costs a lot of money. But when my ancestors heard that you saved my life, they were not stingy. Oh yes, here's another one. He held out his car keys. What's that? The car. Your gift. I hope you'll accept it. I didn't want to take such an expensive gift, but Rick insisted, saying it was from his parents as a token of gratitude. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be in trouble at all. I thanked him and came home so happy. Showed the gift to my parents. Bella was the most excited. She asked me to take her for a ride, but I said I was busy right now. I was going to do my lessons, so I missed a lot. Then she got angry and left somewhere. An hour later, we got a call at home, and I heard my mother talking from the kitchen. Yes, I also had better hearing now. Oh no! What? Where? How? Then I realized what it was about. Bella. I ran out of the room, and my mother was standing there crying, and then she started to leave. Mum, wait! What happened? Bella, she stole your car and had an accident. My mother and I went to the hospital and found Bella in the operating room. The doctor said we need a blood donor. I'll go. No, you're just out of hospital. I won't let you. It's okay, Mum. I know what I'm doing. Somehow I managed to persuade my mother to sign the agreement. I was immediately transferred to a ward and put to sleep. I gave Bella my blood, and they gave me what they had, the usual blood. When I opened my eyes, there was a haze in front of me. I realized that my fog vision had returned. My glasses were on the table beside me. I put them on and went to Bella's room. Doctors stood and wondered why the girl, after so many serious injuries, has already come to her senses and feels great. Her vital signs were normal, and I was very happy about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Kurt. As you may have noticed, I'm a guy, but I have something from a girl. This is something that will surprise you greatly and from which will arise a lot of questions. To be honest, I had a lot of them myself when I saw this thing in my own place. Well, everything in order. First, I'll tell you more about myself. I have a family with me, an older brother, in addition to my parents. My brother hasn't lived with us for a long time because he's married and has his own family, and I'm younger and still haven't got out of the nest. My brother and I are different. He is more calm, likes quiet evenings, board games with children, heart-to-heart conversations over a cup of tea, and I always loved extreme sports. I was doing sports. I was pumping my body. I had a perfect six-pack. The muscles on my arms were sticking out nicely from under my t-shirts. I was proud of my body, mainly because I am more like my father. My dad is also active, and my mother is modest and quiet. When summer comes, I will definitely be climbing mountains, swimming at speed on a scooter, sometimes racing by car. I'm a risk taker, and I think life is one, so you have to live it with emotions. Once, though, my recklessness almost killed me. In the middle of the holidays, the boys and I decided to go for fun on the boats. The weather was just awesome. We invited a few girls to relax with us. One of them I really liked, and I planned to hit on her that day. In general, the guys and I drank a little alcohol. Well, from somewhere came the courage, mixed feelings of extreme with reckless. The boat on which we rode, we had rented. Everything was great from the mood to the water. At some point, when we were already pretty drunk, I asked the girl I liked to dance. Lola agreed immediately, and I realized that she had the same feelings for me. We held hands and danced to a cool slow dance, and I was happy. I looked into her eyes. She smiled at me, and I knew that now is a very important moment. She is waiting for my kiss. I leaned forward slightly and held my breath. At that moment, the boat lurched, and we lost our balance. Lola started to fall down, and I caught her arm. We were very scared, and the guys were too, and the panic started. One of the guys jumped right into the ocean, but suddenly I saw that another boat was coming at us. Dude, the driver lost control and it was heading straight for us. At that moment, I saw everything in slow motion. Lola and she was in the water, I was on the boat holding her hand, and a boat was moving towards us. And then, once and for all, I lost consciousness. I came to myself only in the hospital. I don't know exactly how much time passed, but when I opened my eyes, my mouth was dry, and I didn't immediately know where I was or what I was doing. My mother and brother ran up to me. They began to calm me down, saying that everything was fine. When I was a little more recovered, I turned my head and saw that my right arm was bandaged, but the real panic started when I couldn't move it. The doctor came in and see the fear in my eyes, and he calmed me down and explained that we had been in a terrible accident. You and that girl Lola, you were holding hands when the boat hit you, so you lost both your hands. You're right, and she's left. We did the surgery and sewed them back on, the doctor said, as if he were talking about dolls instead of people. I began to be indignant. How did they come? Rejected? Are we dolls or something? I became hysterical, but my parents calmed me down. It wasn't until an hour later that I finally got the message that the doctors did it for a reason, but to save our hands. I was in a state of shock and didn't want to accept this information. It's good that I blacked out and don't remember what it felt like, and most importantly, I didn't see what it was like. Only after a while did I ask how Lola was doing. She, unlike me, did not lose consciousness and watched all this and endured the pain. She was given a lot of painkillers and sedatives. She was asleep at the time. After some time, I don't know exactly how long, I was finally told the good news. You can remove the stitches and see the result. In principle, I felt my hand. Of course it hurt, but everything is better than without it at all. It was an exciting moment. When the bandages were finally removed, the room was silent. I didn't look to my right, but the silence made me tense. I looked at the doctor and the nurse, saw the confusion on their faces, and lowered my eyes. What? What did you do to her? Why is my hand so thin? Why is it painted red? I shouted, as if scalded. I didn't understand why they had so disfigured her until I heard a scream from the other ward. Lola shouted the same words. Yes, as you guessed, we were sewn on the wrong hands. The doctors made a mistake and swapped our hands. This is such trash. Lola's tantrum was worse than mine, but she's a girl. We were still a long time to calm down, until the doctors again injected us with sedatives. After the chief physician came running to us, my mother's threats that she would sue them, he promised to resolve the issue quietly and peacefully at his own expense. But for this we will have to go back to the operating table. In the meantime, you need to take some time to get your muscles a little stronger, because the operation is not a joke. A day later, Lola and I met at the hospital to look at our hands, and she couldn't hold back her tears at the sight of hers. How many things she saw and remembered for the rest of her life. This boat ride will stay in her head forever. We somehow found words of support for each other, and then we had to live a little as the doctor ordered. It was terrible and ugly and strange to see yourself in the mirror with the woman's hand, and knowing that you can control it. Lola and I only saw each other to check on our limbs to see if they were all right, but man, you don't want an enemy to go through that. Lola and I tried to hide our hands as best we could. The school year has already started long ago. It's good that we went to different schools. I wore long sleeves and a glove on my hand to hide it. The doctors did everything they could to make sure I could manage it, but I would still have it. I didn't even mind the awful seam on my forearm anymore. We went through this for about a month, carefully hiding a part of ourselves, and waited impatiently for the second operation. I wasn't even afraid of the fact that my arm would have to be amputated. I was willing to have what was rightfully mine returned to me. Still, as the doctor promised, the operation was done. Everything went well. Of course, rehabilitation, medications, pain, and the desire to destroy the hospital were also present, but this time without any mistakes. Everything went fine. I'm still in the recovery phase with Lola. It should take time. It's good that we have it. Now I plan to invite Lola to a movie, but during this time we managed to become related to each other. We got as close as others cannot do it.